turn to another kind of spending now, military spending. On Monday, Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel came out with a proposal to shrink the Army to its smallest size since 1940. Why are we unilaterally disarming like this? I've got Global View columnist Bret Stephens joining me. Bret,
it's nice to be on the set of Star Trek.
Yeah, it's a new set. We love it. This is a big reduction in troops that's been proposed. What's the rationale here?
Well, you see, this is the thing, Mary. Just last week, we had the White House coming out saying we're going to have no entitlement reform because, hey, guess what? The deficit is lower than we thought. The debt to GDP ratio is lower than we thought. And then a few days later, Chuck Hagel comes out and says, we've got to cut like mad because we're dealing in this austere, harsh fiscal climate. So in the Obama-mathematics, if you will, you have these two conflicting realities. This is without a question, an effort by this administration to massively pare back the military so that we have a military that is only capable of carrying out the kinds of missions that Obama envisions for our military, not the kind of missions that we might need it for at some point in the future. I mean, it's fine for Chuck Hagel to say we're never going to fight a war like Iraq and Afghanistan again, but often the enemy has other plans. So we're beefing up cyber warfare, we're beefing up our so-called special forces.
Right.
We don't know if that's the battle we're going to be fighting.
But Bret, it seems an especially odd time, given we have Iran pursuing nukes, given what's going on in Syria, what's going on in Venezuela, just to our south. I mean, there are just an awful lot of upheaval and threats these days. What does this mean for our national security?
Well, I mean, look, one of the let me talk first about what it means for the national security of some of our allies. Because say you're Japan, right, or you're Taiwan, or you're some of the allies who have traditionally had the sense that over the horizon, America was prepared to send vast armies to your defense. You're no longer going to have that assurance. So you're going to begin to see the Saudis of the world, the Israelis, Japanese, becoming foreign policy freelancers, and that ought to worry us. And the second thing is an army that is pre-World War II sized tends to invite competition from other major powers like China, like Russia, that can field equivalent sizes. You know, one of the advantages of having this overwhelmingly powerful military is that it basically tells challengers, don't even think about it. Well, they're going to start to think about it.
Bret, 30 seconds left. What does this mean for the pivot to Asia? Was that all talk and no substance?
Well, the last time I checked, you know, one of the core features of the pivot to Asia was that we were going to start deploying Marines to northern Australia. Last I checked, I admit this information is about 2 or 3 months out of date, there wasn't a single Marine in northern Australia. The pivot was always largely a function of Beltway think tank rhetoric more than any kind of reality. And I think that if you're an American ally in East Asia, you have to start thinking very carefully about where your security guarantees are going to come from.
Yeah, time to worry because we may not be there. Global View columnist Bret Stephens, thank you so much for joining us.